Did you see the wild clips of Trump's new PBS programming? There's a clip of an animated Christopher Columbus. Captain Flacon, you have fallen for misinformation. The thing that you're referring to is actually a PragerU for Kids video. And the reason you think that it's PBS programming is because the White House is in talks with PragerU to broadcast and, promote their works, right? In lieu of PBS, not to replace PBS programming, nor has anything been confirmed. And I did, in fact, already react to that. Still pretty bad, though.
I'm sorry, Mr. Columbus, but I heard
I'm sorry.
at school that you spoiled paradise and you brought slavery and murder to peaceful people. Leo, sorry. That's what I read and heard at school.
Caramba! Those are some accusations. The place I discovered was beautiful, but it wasn't exactly a paradise of civilization, and the native people were far from peaceful.
But you just said the Taino were peaceful.
They were all cannibals.
They pretty much are, but there are other tribes who aren't. The Taino I had met had cuts and scars and bruises all over them. I asked why, and they told me about the Caribs, who are vicious, warring cannibals.
Cannibals?
Oh shit, they actually did go there. That's good.
Like they
Eat people, see.
Whoa.
Right? Hey, all the
You want to show people that creepy Dennis Prager cartoon in the bottom right? Oh yeah, I forgot. My camera is obscuring a weird, like, chibi child Dennis Prager. I don't know why they've made him a child here when Dennis Prager is like a 75-year-old. I don't know why they've decided to depict him in this fashion.
things that are bad in the world I come from, jealousy, lying, murder, war, it all exists in the land I just found too. But in Europe, we draw the line at things.
The problem with this, okay, leaving aside the fact that fascists can't create good art and that any child who's subjected to watch this in class will find it boring. The Republicans want to do triumph of the will. They want to create these bold propaganda narratives that have all the Hitler Jugend cheering Trump and so on. But every kid is just going to be bored watching this. The problem fundamentally is that this is supposed to be for kids. This is for adults, because this video on its own makes absolutely no sense if you're propagandizing to children. This is meant to appeal to adult investors, to get people to put more money into PragerU. Look, we're propagandizing the kids, but of course, they're not good at art, so they don't realize that if you're actually marketing this kind of stuff to kids, you wouldn't frame everything as this well, everything you've been told is a lie. What do you mean everything you've been told is a lie? Isn't this meant to be shown to 10-year-olds? Why are you fronting this as though you're speaking to an audience of 16 to 20-year-olds who have already received a primary education on Christopher Columbus and are now having it challenged by this propaganda? It doesn't make any sense. To put it another way, the style of this content makes it look as though it's meant to appeal to people between ages 6 and 10, but the content of the message only makes sense for people in an older age range. Does that make any sense? It's really bad propaganda. To be fair, it's kind of hard to create any kind of educational film that kids will find entertaining. No, it's not. Sesame Street's been doing it for 50 years. It's just the problem is that you have to be bold enough to just present the things that you believe as upfront facts. So the problem that conservatives have with this is that if you were just to present a straightforward, upfront story where Christopher Columbus is a glorious hero who discovered the Americas and allowed the foundation for the United States of America to be laid, you wouldn't have to talk about any of this. You wouldn't mention slavery. You wouldn't mention cannibals. You wouldn't mention the indigenous people. You would just do traditional, classic, Western expansion, nationalist propaganda. You would literally it would just be out of a textbook from the 1960s. You would literally just have a story that's Christopher Columbus sailed the ocean blue, discovered the new world, got along with the Native Americans, and planted the flag of what would later become the United States. Thank you, Christopher Columbus. That's what it would look like, because that's what appeals to kids, a simple narrative. But the conservatives now can't do that because they're insecure about the fact that they are openly confronting and challenging the past 50 years of educational hegemony. Does that make any sense? They're not confident enough to just present the narrative the way American supremacists have for hundreds of years. Instead, they have to do this meandering pussy liberal YouTube counter narrative stuff where they're excuse me, 6-year-old, did you know that Christopher Columbus was actually a nicer guy than you've been told? What the are you talking about?
Things like eating people and human sacrifice. Some of the native folks from where I just left do those things regularly.
Like what is it? This is meant to like convince an 8-year-old? What do you like what is this? If you really wanted to like land on the narrative of natives being savages, you would just say that. You would just say like Christopher Columbus was a brave and gallant knight who sailed over to America and defeated evil hordes of Native Americans. Like you wouldn't be like self-consciously explaining, actually we had no choice but to enslave them or whatever.
So, these people in your time who think it was a peaceful paradise are misinformed.
See, like, again, what was... excuse me, children of liberal parents, have your parents ever told you that Christopher Columbus was a genocidal slaver who was so brutal in his time that he was arrested and imprisoned for his brutality?
Or lying.
Yeah, but what about slavery? You didn't deny that.
Me when I'm trying to convince 5-year-old snot dribbling from his nose to love America or something. What the stupid.
Deny? No. Slavery is as old as time and has taken place in every corner of the world, even amongst the people I just left.
Wow.
Being taken as a slave is better than being killed, no?
Mm-hmm.
I don't see the problem.
Well, in our time...
I don't see the problem. They're even using vocabulary that's too advanced for young kids. Just look, you have to interpret this as an investment pitch, okay? PragerU, like all businesses, exists only to convince people to give it money, right? That like every pitch they've done, every product they've worked on, that is the point of it. They did this as a way of proving to people that they could propagandize to children as well, but they're just not very good at it. You've noticed this trend, right? There are a lot of conservative commentators who make fascist children's propaganda exclusively to appeal to adults. Lauren Southern did this. Matt Walsh did this. There are a lot of conservatives who have done this. I think the reason they do this is A, they want to prove that they can convince more people. They can build more of a like ground base, Hitlerjugend base, than just like edgy 15-year-olds or whatever. But I think a lot of it is also like an insecurity on their part that their positions aren't really that convincing to anyone outside of an extremely young age group. But then you go ahead and look at what they're making, and it's really bad for children. Not like morally. I mean, it is morally bad for children as well. But it's also bad like in the point it's trying to make. I'm trying to think of like a good comparison here, okay? I feel like in the 1930s, if you were a propagandist working for the Nazi party, like, okay, let's do like a Goofus and Gallant, all right? You have the good propagandist and the bad propagandist, okay? I feel like the good propagandist would make a children's, like, painted book about, I don't know, what's the name of that famous musician the Nazis love so much? Why am I blanking? Wagner? What am I? I'm blanking. Wagner, thank you, Wagner. Okay, it would be like a painted children's storybook of a cartoonish retelling of Wagner's life, where he's like a really cool hero who really loves the fatherland and wants to make beautiful music to inspire people of his race to do their best, you know? And it would have like a cartoony little Wagner, and it would be like, he'd be like, I will honor the fatherland with my violin, you know, like that kind of thing. Like it would be something like that. And then the bad propagandist, right, the Goofus propagandist would make the children's book, and it would be a guy talking directly to the reader, to like the presumed child reader, and be like, now some people have claimed that Wagner is a racist, but let me tell you, is it racist to love your people? Turns the page. People claim that it's intolerant towards others to say you love the fatherland. Well, I disagree. Like you're not this I feel like what I'm saying makes sense, and I'm sort of imitating the behavior of the people I'm criticizing by insecurely asking you if it makes sense. I think the point that I've made makes sense.
And we view slavery as being evil and terrible.
Ah, magnifico. That's wonderful. I am glad humanity has reached such a time. But you said you're from 500 years in the future? How can you come here to the 15th century and judge me by your standards from the 21st century?
Columbus, when he hears that in the future, whites and blacks live together in harmony, question mark. That's, ay caramba, that sounds amazing. I'm so happy to hear that. Yeah, dude, that's true.
Century. For those in the future to look back and do this is, well, estúpido.
Also, really, 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 really strange point for conservatives to make. Why would you make the argument that it was okay to kill the natives because they engaged in warfare and cannibalism, and then make a moral relativist argument at the end? They've never been consistent on this. White figures in the past get to be judged by the standards of historical relativism, but non-white people never do, right? Like you can like it's totally morally incoherent. Do we judge people in the past by modern standards or no? You know, Columbus was literally judged unfavorably by people during his time. Yeah, no shit, but you don't need me to tell you that. Like, for one, I actually did tell you that 5 minutes ago. You need to pay attention and also give me a tier 1 or preferably a tier 4 subscription, and like and subscribe and ring the bell so you get notifications when my videos go out. But in addition to that, it's not really about whether or not they're wrong. It's a PragerU for Kids video. Of course they're wrong. Like, let's not be stupid here, obviously. Take that for granted, okay? The point that I'm making is that it's bad propaganda. Like, a lot of people are worried about the White House is partnering with PragerU. The conservative biased education company is already making AI content in a series launched with the Trump administration. And new reporting suggests the White House could be eyeing PragerU as a substitute for PBS. But like, at the end of the day, even if this happens, which is tentative, it could not. I don't think it's going to work that well. I think it's going to be boring. And like, man, I don't know. You saw that shit go out in Texas? The fact that they all have to put the 10 Commandments in the classrooms now? We don't live in the world of the past, okay? All you're going to do is associate all of this conservative propaganda and religious imagery with the, staunch, authority of the teachers. You're going to make it uncool, right? The whole rhetorical line for conservatism and even Christianity over the past decade has been, isn't it actually like punk rock to be conservative? Isn't it punk rock to be Christian? Isn't it punk rock to be a Christian white male who settles down with another white female and has children? Like, that's been their line. Like, isn't it actually cool to be a boring loser? So to go from that to, all right, everyone, sit down for your mandatory 52-minute AI-generated PragerU video where Ben Shapiro goes back in time to debate the Native Americans, like, good luck with that. Yeah, you're definitely going to cement in the minds of these children that conservatism is like super cool and punk rock. It is pretty funny though. Ay caramba.